It all starts when I was 12 years old, and my family took me on my first trip to Disney World. It was supposed to be magical, a vacation full of laughter, excitement, and everything Disney promises. By the time we arrived in Orlando after a long car ride from New York, my hip hurt so much that walking was out of the question. I could barely stand. What should have been a week of joy and exploration turned into a whirlwind of anxiety and disappointment. My parents took me to different doctors, but no one could figure out exactly what was wrong. Rest and physical therapy were the only recommendations, but they didn't help. In fact, the pain only got worse. While the world around me was bursting with color and adventure, I was stuck viewing it from a wheelchair, feeling like I was missing out. That trip, however, marked the beginning of a shift. After we returned home, my parents found a specialist who finally gave me an answer. Slipped capital femoral epiphysis. I was hopeful that with 1 or 2 surgeries it would be enough to fix the problem. I kept telling myself that I would be back to normal soon. But quickly, that hope gave way to reality. That surgery, that one was just the beginning. Over the next 3 years, I would endure 4 more surgeries, and each one brought its own challenges. Some offering relief, others leaving me the same, and some even worse than when I had gone into them. The recovery was long and grueling, with no guarantees that the next surgery would be the last. I remember a mix of emotions before every operation: hope, fear, and the lingering question of whether this time would be different. Each time I woke up, the same reality set in. The pain wasn't gone, and I still couldn't walk. The surgeries weren't the hardest part, though. The hardest part was losing the freedom to live like other kids my age. The little moments, running around at recess, joining in at birthday parties, or just walking down the hall at school were completely out of reach for me. Imagine having to move around without the use of your hands, because they're busy trying to move you. By 7th grade, the pain was too much to manage while attending school. I had to be homeschooled for long stretches of time. While I was away from my classroom, though, I refused to let my education slip. I was focused on my studies, determined not to fall behind. When I graduated middle school, I wasn't just any student. I graduated as the valedictorian. The decision came down to fractions of a grade point, but I came out on top. That moment, that felt surreal. At the graduation ceremony, the stomp of my crutches on the hard tile floor echoed through the auditorium as I made my way up to the stage. Standing there, my speech broke what had been the silence of my crutches, and I felt a spark of triumph. At least 250 sets of eyes were on me as I thanked everyone, from my classmates who had delivered my classwork to home, to my brother, who had helped me put my shoes on each and every morning. For the first time in a long time, I finally had felt visible again. I finally could be in front of my classmates. This was finally my reemergence from the sidelines. Making valedictorian was a huge victory in a sea of challenges, and it reminded me that my situation didn't define what I could accomplish. Leaving middle school at the top of my class, despite everything, renewed my motivation to keep pushing onward and defying expectations. That summer, before high school, I pushed myself harder in physical therapy than ever before. By the time I started 9th grade, I had transitioned to walking with just a cane. It wasn't perfect, and every step came with pain, but it was progress. By 10th grade, after years of surgeries, countless hours of physical therapy, and sheer determination, it became clear that I finally no longer needed the cane. I was walking on my own. My limp was still pronounced, and the pain was a constant reminder of everything I had endured, but I refused to let it hold me back.